Welcome to Jump Seat Conversations, a Travel Again advisory podcast. We believe the right idea deserves the right audience, so let's start the conversation now. Please welcome to the stage, Managing Partner of Travel Again Advisory, Mike McCormick. Today's conversation is with Michael Gulmann, founder and CEO of Otto the Agent. Please fasten your seatbelts and let's begin.
So, welcome. Thank you, Ed. And today we have Otto the Agent delivering a personalized business travel experience from planning to booking using the latest Gen AI and multi-agent frameworks. They got a $6 million seed round led by Madrona Ventures with direct travel and travel industry angels participating. Certainly great pedigree. They're intersecting travel and AI. So, Michael, welcome. Excited to hear your pitch.
Nice to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, let's see what you got. Bring your best pitch. Let's do it.
You want me just to jump in?
Yep, jump in.
All right. Well, fantastic. Thanks for having me here. So I spent 14 years building travel technology. I was SVP of product at Expedia Group, running strategy and product for Expedia, Hotels.com, and all of Expedia's travel brands. So let me tell you the secret the whole industry knows but won't say out loud. Every travel app still makes you do the work. So you open the site, you open the app, it shows you 100 flights, 100 hotels, and basically says good luck. But when you're flying coast to coast for a client meeting, you don't want 100 options. You want the right one fast. Well, the people at the top of companies have already solved this. They have an executive assistant. Somebody who knows how that executive likes to fly, what hotels they want, then books it, changes it, fixes it when the flight gets canceled at 11 p.m. I had that wonderful EA at Expedia, and she changed how I traveled. And I kept thinking, well, why do only the senior leaders get this? So we built Otto. As you said, Otto's an AI executive assistant for every business traveler. It's not a search box. It's an assistant you hand the whole trip to. So yeah, I'll take you back in 2017, before any of this AI really came about. I was talking to Forbes, and you can go look up this article, and I said, one day you'll simply text your travel assistant, reschedule my flight, put me on the next one, and it would handle the whole thing. And people said that was a decade away, and kind of right. It's here now, and we built it. So let me explain. You tell Otto, I've got a 10 a.m. meeting with Microsoft in Redmond on Tuesday. Just natural language, just like you talk to your executive assistant. That's the whole instruction. Otto finds the address of Microsoft, the meeting you're going to, figures out when you need to fly out to make it, books a hotel near their campus, knows that you need a rental car, arranges all of it, all in one conversation. And after you book, if the price drops, if your meeting changes, Otto will rebook you and hand you back the savings even. You never lifted a finger. And Otto lives where you already work. So iOS and Android apps on your phone, your email, Slack, Teams, even inside an executive or an AI assistant you may already talk to. Interesting story. We were featured in Claude Connector Marketplace earlier this month, and over 1,000 travelers connected to Otto in that first week. So this isn't a someday story. As you said, we're backed by Madrona and the folks who literally built modern corporate travel. The founders and CEOs behind Concur, Expedia, Orbitz, and Otto's already running trips for individual business travelers like medical students and sales reps to public company board members who book by themselves. We even have companies with more than 10,000 employees using Otto to handle their travel. So in that, I spent my whole career helping the world's biggest travel companies, but I left to fix the one thing none of them would. For 100 years, great travel meant having someone in your corner, a travel agent, a travel consultant, an executive assistant, and almost nobody got that. We're now giving that to everyone. We're not building a better way to search for travel. We're building a world where you never have to, and that's Otto.
So I'll start with the easy question. Why Otto?
Why the name?
Yeah.
Well, first off, I think there are way too many female sounding names of executive assistants. So we kind of went over to the more male sounding name. That was a big part of it in the beginning. And then I love a good palindrome, OTTO, backwards, forwards.
I was wondering if that played into it.
Yeah. And then the fact that it's pronounceable and nameable in almost every almost every language in the world. So we settle on Otto, and Otto the Agent sounds great.
It does. So you talked a little bit about use case, right? Kind of the best ones, which is, again, I think everybody, to your point, it's a great point. I mean, everybody would want their own EA, right? I mean, and you're right. A really good assistant who's kind of out in front of your arrangements, your trip or whatever, can make a huge difference in the outcome, right? So having said that, like, how long do you think the adoption curve is for like a completely agentic, like end-to-end business process? I mean, from what I'm understanding, you're putting that really, you're putting the front end on it in terms of the relationship between the traveler or the user and this whole new complex network that's being built out there. How long do you think we are until we really get there where you're like the adoption curve is really, full on with something like Otto the Agent?
Yeah, I think it's no different than for those of us that are old enough, for the start of kind of the .com era and the birth of the internet to mobile apps. There are definitely early adopters who would buy a book on Amazon back when they only sold that. And then there were folks who were, immediately downloading apps and trying those things out. But it was generally a year, 2 years, 3 years, and then people started to feel comfortable that they would get their product. They felt comfortable booking their travel on the likes of Expedia and knowing that they'd actually have a ticket. And we're seeing kind of that same adoption curve. Definitely early adopters, but we have students. We have folks who are board members who are using Otto and booking that way. So this is not just an early adopter. I think lots of folks are trying it out. When they do finally book their first trip with Otto, and mind you, we're not going and selling to large corporates. We have corporates who are definitely using Otto, but people who are self-selecting to come to Otto to book their travel. And those folks are coming back at over a 50% rate to book their second and third trip. So, that adoption is happening.
Yeah, that was my next question. Like, repeat rate, customer loyalty, like, are you seeing a good outcome? Not, and that maybe not even specifically again to your tool, because you're early stage. It's more about changing behavior than it is necessarily. I mean, you have to have a good product, but it's about that behavioral change of getting people to understand and trust your tool.
I think it's a huge trust issue. For the first transaction and booking, we can see the number of searches that people do, and people are definitely refining and asking Otto, well, how about, earlier morning flights? How about later flights? What about this hotel brand? And that's generally for their first, couple of bookings. By the end, the third, fourth, fifth transaction or booking their, or trip that they're traveling with Otto, that trust factor is really there. The big part of Otto is that it gets to know you and your preferences. It gets to know how you like to travel as an individual business traveler. What hotel brands are you loyal to? What airlines do you prefer to travel to? Do you prefer the mornings or the evenings? And so Otto then just presents back what it thinks is the right flight and the right hotel. Gives you a couple of options, but essentially, 1, 2, and 3. And so what we start seeing in the fourth and fifth booking is that people are just selecting that one. They now trust Otto. They're like, yep, that's quite frankly the flight I'd like to book. What's fun to see as well is Otto gets to know that, if you're traveling to New York from Seattle 4 or 5 times a year, like I kind of do, there's a specific flight. I didn't even know I had picked the same flight twice, but apparently it's the same Delta Seattle to JFK, and that's now the one that Otto says, well, since you've flown that one before, that's probably the one you want, and I don't have to scroll through. There's no endless scroll anymore.
Right. So trust, big factor here. So who pays? Who's paying for this ultimately? Is your traveler paying for this? Is it?
I mean, they pay for their ticket, they pay for their hotel, and then they get reimbursed by their companies. But if you're asking how we make money, it's the traditional travel agent style. We don't charge our customers. We don't charge the corporates. We don't charge a per trip fee or a per ticket fee. We earn our commissions from the airlines through the GDSs, through the airlines. And same thing for hotels. No different than if you were to go book on Expedia, and Expedia makes their money that way. we're able to be super efficient from an operational standpoint. Our cost structure is fantastic because people are talking with the AI agent. They're talking with Otto. And so, I remember back in the Agencia days, I'm not going to give out any numbers, but, the contact rate was really, really high. We don't have that high contact rate. We have an extremely low single digit contact rate. But we do let customers and travelers talk to a human if they need to. And so if there's something that Otto recognizes it can't do, it can connect you through to a human agent, either through chat or through a phone call. And so there's always that exit ramp, but almost nobody's taking it, which is great to see.
Are you so potentially you're entering into partnerships though, where depending on the traveler, if they have a dedicated agent already, the agented help, if needed, the human help can be provided by more, not just you, but a range of partners or
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. And so I would say about, half of our users, our travelers, are folks who work for companies that don't have your traditional travel management company. And they're out there booking by themselves, and they're going through leisure websites and consumer websites to do that.
Right.
And that's just not a good experience. When the one thing, I worked both corporate side as well as the leisure side. The leisure side, what folks always want is the cheapest ticket. They'll take 1-2 stopover. For business travel, that doesn't make sense, right? And so when these business travelers are going to the consumer sites, they have to scroll, they have to filter, they have to do everything themselves.
It's not an efficient process at all. No.
And so that's about half of our travelers who are that unmanaged segment that come directly to Otto and to find a better experience and get that executive assistant type experience. And the other half, as you said, we partner with TMCs to essentially be that front end, and Otto becomes that travel assistant that plugs into their back end and can handle those transactions for them.
So you came here today to sit in the jump seat. What were you looking for today?
We are raising our Series A right now. Things are looking good and healthy, and part of it's Mike, you and I have gone back a couple of years, GBTA days and things like that, and I thought it'd be fun to come and chat with you about Otto first and foremost. But the more people that know about Otto, the better. The more people go try it. It's very simple. Go to ottotheagent.com, OTTO, theagent.com, and free account. Go ahead and register and try it out for your next booking. More than anything, I just want more people to try it. Word of mouth spreads. But if there are any investors out there who are listening who want to get in contact, very simple. Michael at ottotheagent.com.
You'll take the call.
I'll take the call for sure.
Closing question. Tell me one thing about your business that you've never told anyone before.
Oh boy. Let's think. So for 20 years, or at least for a long time, a lot of us in the travel industry, the online travel industry, had a line we were kind of proud of. We said that when the internet came along and the Expedias and the Orbits and so forth, the world came along. We said that we really turned the travel agent screen around, kind of thinking as you'd go into a typical travel agency and they would have the screen facing them and they'd verbally tell you all the offers. And so this was kind of proud of, turn the screen around. But, and then for the first time, every traveler could see everything the agent could see. And we really call that democratizing travel. And I spent my whole career building that democratized travel. But I actually have come to think a big part of that was a mistake. That's kind of the thing I'll share with you, because turning the screen around didn't give people more. It gave people more choice. It didn't give them a better travel agent. It actually turned people into a travel agent. So we handed millions of people the tools to do a travel agent job, but largely they're unpaid, they're untrained, they don't really know how to book travel. They're trying to book at midnight, rebooking their own canceled flights, and we call that empowerment. I actually thought that was, come to think that we kind of abandoned travelers in a funny way. And building Otto is really trying to undo that. We're trying to turn that screen back around, except this time the person on the other side is an assistant that actually works for you. So your agent, Otto, still has access to everything, but you really just get the thing that you wanted, someone just handling that trip for you.
That's great. Well, thank you for joining us today. Again, exciting times, and certainly very interesting opportunity I think you have. And, in terms of the positioning now, repositioning of the tools and capabilities, and an interesting point, like about how, kind of empowering the traveler, but in a really empowering, to your point.
Using technology to bring us back to 1980.
Yeah, well, there you go. All right. Thank you, Michael. Thank you for joining me in the cockpit.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.
All right.